This fabric is beautiful and some of the designs are fairly large. I want my quilt pattern to use larger pieces to kind of help show off these designs. If my quilt pattern uses smaller pieces, some of these designs could get lost. To show you what I mean, I cut out a square that is 2 3/4 inches, and if you just randomly place it along the fabric, you can see how the design could get lost. Unless I were to fussy cut, and I definitely don't want to do that. The disappearing 9-patch pattern will work beautifully. Hi, I'm Julie. Here at Quilting Plus More, we're all about bringing your quilts to life so they can be treasured for generations. The disappearing 9-patch is based on a 9-patch block. And so my next step is to sort my fabrics into piles of the same type of design in each pile. And then I can start laying out my squares into a 9-patch block. There are 24 squares per pack. I'm also adding 8 squares of my own so that I can make a quilt that is 60 by 90 inches. So that is going to end up being 2 blocks across and 3 blocks down. These packs have an assortment in them, so this quilt will be scrappy. So one of the few things that I really thought through with respect to all of this fabric and the fabric that I'm adding is the placement of the large scale designs. I want those large scale designs to be in the corners of my 9-patch. So there's 4 in each block, and then I have my 6-block layout for my whole quilt. So I just wanted to make sure that I had enough large scale prints to fill those quadrants of my 9-patch, and I do. So I am just going to start laying out my 9-patch. I'm going to do my large scale ones first, and I'm just going to randomly start placing them in that layout. And then I am going to fill in with my smaller scale patterns. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stack my various other pieces on top. So I have 6 stacks in each for my 6 blocks that I'm creating. And then I will just start sewing them one right after another. All of this 10-inch squares are laid out into the layout of a 9-patch. I have 3 in each row, and I have 3 rows. So now I am going to start sewing them together. I'm going to sew a row and then sew the next row, and then the rows will be sewn together. And there you have it. My 9 patches are all sewn together. On the back, the seams in row 1 and 3, once I got my squares sewn together, my seams are pressed in. And my middle row, the seams, once the blocks are sewn, are pressed out. That helps your seams nest when you sew your rows together. So now that these are all sewn and pressed, it is time to make the 9-patch disappear. And how you do that is you cut your block vertically in half in the middle and horizontally in half in the middle. My blocks measure, when sewn, 9.5. So I am going to cut from my seam 4 3/4 inches vertically and 4 3/4 horizontally. I put tape so that I know exactly where so that I don't lose track of where I am at when I am cutting. Because this ruler does not reach the full length, I need to pick up my ruler and move it. So I just want to make sure that I get it in the right spot. That up. And now we'll go horizontally. Okay, so now here are your blocks, all cut in half. And I am going to literally just turn these two, and this is going to be the configuration of my block. Actually, I'm going to turn that one and that one. And by doing that, I have no seams that need to be matched when I sew this together. So when I go to sew these together, I am going to sew these two, just like I did the 9 patch. I'm going to sew these here, then this one here, and then I'm going to sew my row together here, and that is the new block. How cool is that? So yay, here we are. The next step is to sew my blocks together and form my quilt top. So here it is. Kevin and I, my husband, helped me put up the different blocks and arrange them to try to get a random scrappy look throughout the entire quilt top. This quilt top is not only beginner friendly, but it's a quilt that will come together so quickly and easily when you need a quilt fast or just want to get one done. So my next step now is to get these blocks sewn together. I am going to do it in groups of 4, just like the block. And so I will sew these two, and then those two, and then I will sew those 2 rows together, and I will do this for each group of 4, and then I will sew them together into my top. These 2 disappearing 9 patch blocks are all sewn, and I have the 2 on the bottom completed. So now I'm going to sew these 2 together to form the row. I'm ready to sew on the last row. I've put in a couple of pins to remind me of which is the top, and we're ready to sew it on. And here we are. It is all sewn together. I love these, how the 10-inch squares just show off this beautiful fabric. I happen to have this quilt backing that now has a home with this quilt, so it's time to get it quilted. And here it is. This quilt ends up measuring roughly 56 by 84 inches. This is a great beginner-friendly block, and for all you quilters out there that have been quilting for a while, this is a fast, fun block. If you like string videos, check out this video. I'll see you over there.